Hey guys, James here from TCG University. Come back at you with another deck profile. Today I'm going to be showing you my Hiei deck. I played them this week during our Best of the Set Campus Championship this week. Basically the idea was you picked one character from a set. Nobody else could pick a character from that set. And you played, we played our tournament. The sets we used were Soul Calibur 1 and 2. We used the new DLC packs. They were counted. Then you have Cowboy Bebop, Darkstalker vs. Street Fighter. You guys get the gist. Seventh Cross, that was the one I missed. I knew it. But we picked one character from each of those sets, and they got into it, and we got to brawl. So I chose Hiei. So let's get in his profile. You'll see how you'll see the choices I made, and I'll explain some of the reasonings. Okay, guys. First, let's get into Hiei. We'll explain Hiei a little bit. He is a 6-hand size, 27 vitality character with Chaos, Fire, and Void. Because we've already used Chaos and Fire, I was not allowed to build those symbols. So I played Void this week. I like the idea I built. I might do an article later on like the Fire and Chaos versions of this deck. This deck is, I had this idea, just like an offset podcast idea where like we said something offhandedly and I went, that might work. So I was like, I'll look into it. And then I got the chance to play Hiei this week and I went, I guess we'll test an offhand theory, which was I took an idea I had already, being a Chaos version for this deck. And I can't play Chaos, but let's do something similar under the Void symbol, which is what I did this week. I don't feel it's as strong as maybe the Chaos or Fire symbol, because I had a similar idea that worked with the Fire symbol. Is what I learned is Fire symbol would also be pretty cool for this. But I don't feel it's as powerful, but I think you get the idea across from it, and I think it has some cool legs, and I think if people tested like some mixture builds, it might work a little better. First off, he has a static. You may look at either player's momentum at any time, and then while this character is ready, you may play cards from your momentum as though they were in your hand, and then you may not play cards from your momentum that share a name with a card you have already played this turn, meaning you can play at least one copy of a card from your momentum as long as you have already not played it from your hand or from your momentum as well. So like if you have two, you can only play one from momentum. But if you have three in your hand and one in your momentum, you play the momentum first and then play the three from your hand, because if you play one from your hand, you won't get to play the one from your momentum. It's a little confusing, but a little easier to understand once you get the flow of the deck. Then he has a bottle ability, which is we don't care about it. That was a joke. I cut off midway on purpose for the joke. We don't use this bottom ability. This bottom ability does not exist for us. We don't care. Now let's get into why I don't care. I built this idea mostly around a deck that's already won has actually won somebody cardboard, which would be I think like a 2014-2015 Whitzel deck. The idea around that deck in the past was I play really cool flash attack. Cool. My flash attack gets X damage. Did it hit you? Cool. I'll play all this that gives more damage, gives more speed. And it was basically like, I'm a thick boy. I do thick damage. Don't die. And for whatever reason, that worked in our Gray Walls everybody loves to enhance format. You know, it just happens. But that was like a format in and of itself at one point. And I thought, I wonder if I could get that same idea across in another character in the meta we are in now. And one of the things I came across was like Hiei. He lets you play things from momentum, meaning like if an attack hit, you get to play it later, which was just like, cool, I'll play my flash attack. Do you want to interact with it? No. Do you want to block it? No. Okay, I'll have it for later, I guess. And that was mainly the idea behind why I wanted to build this deck specifically. So we're getting into the attacks. The first attack is going to be, the first attack we're going to go over is Concussion Blast. Some Conk Blast. This is a card that was played regularly in that Whitzel deck as well. It is a 4 high for 8, 5 difficulty, 2 check. If it has, everything has flash, so we don't have to worry about it. There's no enhances during these cards. If this attack is blocked, it gets discarded from the card pool, meaning I lose my progressive. So if I draw an entire hand of attacks, you have to deal with it, which is why it works with Hiei. It's just like, deal with my 4 high for 8. Deal with it. Did you not? Cool. I'll have it for later. Next turn. Deal with my 4 high for 8. Like, it just throw it at your opponent. And that was just the main purpose of this card. Same thing with the Kneecapper. It is a 3 difficulty, 3 control, 3 low for 4. If it's blocked, it gets discarded. Deal with it. Deal with it, boy. Deal with it. You're getting the idea here? The next thing we're talking about is Melina's Teleport Kicked. Funnily enough, this unused card from Melina support is a flash attack and a reversal. It's a 5 diff, 3 control, 5 high for 4. Respond your turn, lose 1 vitality. After you play this card, look at your opponent's hand. I only played 3 of this only because I wanted to play one other card that, in my opinion, I didn't need. But I also don't think the Void symbol is the strongest symbol for this right now. Maybe if I get something later, it could be stronger. But so I was playing something else that may have not been as well, may have been as good as this. But I like the lose 1 ability mainly because if we do get a bunch of attacks in our card in our momentum, there are going to be a bunch of different zones: high, low, high on the conch blast, low. We have 1 mid in our deck. Like if we get a bunch of different zones, I can look at my opponent's hand and kind of get an idea of how I want to play my turn. I get to see all the blocks they have, what speeds, what zones. I can make them waste blocks, lead into things. I can do cool combo stuff by knowing what's in my opponent's hand and getting to play both from my hand and my momentum, which, in my opinion, was very, very cool. Next, we're going to talk about Bear's Bite. Bear's Bite is a 3 low for 3, 3 diff, 3 control, flash attack, of course. Respond after you play this attack. Your next flash attack gets +2 damage. Basically, it makes your next flash attack stronger. And if your opponent wastes a block on this, they waste a block on this, and your next attack already has 2 damage. So they have to decide, am I going to block this and maybe not block the next one, or do I just let this go through? And a lot of times, if they just let this go through, you have a 3 damage +2 to the next attack for next turn. And it's cheap, so you don't have to worry about committing foundations. You just get to do cool things. And then the card I was talking about earlier of why I didn't play for Melina's Teleport Kick is Silverfang Salvo. I'm not as in love with this card as I wish I was. Mainly just because I wish I got to play more things from my momentum than play this card. Silverfang Salvo is a 5/3, 2 high for 5. It's a flash attack. Respond after you play this. After you play this attack, it loses flash and gets multiple X. X equals the number of flash attacks that have been played this combat phase. Meaning, if you play a bunch of flash attacks from your hand and you have 4 momentum, you play 3 flash and you play this, you can give this multiple 4 then use that momentum for multiple 4. Most of the time, I didn't ever want to use my momentum to multiple it. I always kind of wanted to just save this for some other time and just use the cards for momentum or for my hand. And then maybe I'll, at one point, use this, but I just never got to it. Then the last flash attack in our deck is Shadow Blade Shuriken. Shadow Blade Shuriken is a 5/3, 5 mid for 5 with a 1 mid block. After it's discarded from our card pool during the combat phase, we get to draw a card. And then respond after you play this attack. Your next attack this turn gets +2 damage. Basically, this was just a nice 5 mid for 5 that gave 2 damage to the next one. I found a card that slightly combos with it, but also kind of does Hiei things as well. So we'll get into that now, which is 2 Unite. I'll keep Shadow Blade Shuriken out here. Unite is a very weird card, especially in Hiei, mainly because of how well he can use it. Unite is a 1/4, 1 low block that says E, we're only playing for this bottom ability. E, opponent's turn, add this card to your momentum. Discard all cards from your card pool. Basically, the way this works is, the way I intended this to work, not only to just clear my card pool every time I have something, so that way I can make sure I can block something when I really need to, and because you can play it for momentum. So the idea is, well, before we get to this is opponent's turn. I'll clear my card pool and then this will go momentum. Cool. It's there for later. Now, when I block 3 times the next turn, I need to block a 4th time. I'll clear my card pool and then this will go back to momentum again. And then I don't have to ever worry about not having this card unless my opponent removes it. So if at any point that I haven't used this during a turn and I really, really need a low block, I can always depend on it being in my momentum. Now onto the combo I intended this card for. Shadow Blade Shuriken is a very good 1 mid block, which is very useful, especially in a deck when we can play cards from our momentum. So basically the idea is, cool, I'll block with my Shadow Blade Shuriken from my hand. Cool, I'll block with my Shadow Blade Shuriken from momentum. Cool, I'll play Unite. I'll clear my cards from my card pool. Unite will go to momentum, and then because Shadow Blade was discarded by this card, by our solid Unite card here, I'll draw a card off of Shadow Blade. And you just kind of get the +1 hand size on your opponent's turn, which kind of leads into playing better defense as well. Now we're going to talk about the cards I added in to specifically interact with the Flash build. We're playing 4 Iron Will. It's a nice, simple card. It's a 1/5/3 mid block that says, R commit after you play an attack gets 2 speed. Basically, the idea is, I'll play my cool attack. I'll give it 2 speed. 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 And you just commit all of them to make sure your one attack goes through, and then you have it for later. And then you force them to deal with your other attacks. Then we have Mind Trigger. Mind Trigger is a little bit more damage to force our opponent to either want to block our attacks so they don't block things later, or to just push a little bit more damage in general. It's a 1/5 that just says check a 4, and your flash, after you play a flash attack, it's 1 damage. It's just a simple +1 to attacks. The more you have on board, the more damage you can put out. It just makes every attack deal just a little bit more, which is sometimes useful. Same thing with Muscle Spirit, the reason why we're playing that. Muscle Spirit is a 1/5 of the 2 mid block. E-commit, if you do not block your opponent's attack, your attacks get +1 damage during your next combat phase. So it just means every time I don't block an attack and I use Muscle Spirits, so like if I use these twice, all of my attacks will get 2 damage next turn, which means, cool, this is a 5 damage, I'll give 2 to the next, and it'll get +2 from this, so it gets +4 to the next. This is a 5 damage 3 diff, like, coming at you, like, deal with it. Like, I say it a lot, but, like, deal with it. So, like, that was the purpose behind that. Just face tank something, hit harder the next turn. The next card is more of, like, Hiei things. It's Protecting Yukina. Protecting Yukina is a 2/4, the 1 mid block that says we can discard momentum, and then when we block with it, an attack deals no damage. It's a very solid block card for Hiei. And then E, Destroy. Add the top card of your deck to your momentum. This just says we can destroy this to get a random card, which of course Hiei can just play if he wants to, which is also very cool. The next card we're talking about is Spell Circle. I mainly use this defensively. The way we play this is Spell Circle will always end up in our momentum, to which we can always play it to force our opponent to discard on their turn, which is how we do it. Say you draw your 4 attack hand and you have 1 foundation, 2 foundations. You get rid of 1 of the foundations to add the Spell Circle in, and you go, cool. And then you play your attacks, and you don't care. And then your opponent starts their turn. You have all your cool stuff you can block with from Hiei. And then you go, cool, I'll -1 hand size you. And then you just know that they're -1 hand size. Just turns all your opponents into -1 hand size, which is super sick. Being a 6-hander as a 7-hander is not cool. Being a 5-hander as a 6-hander is not good. Eventually, you'll just outpace your opponent in a regular deck. In my deck, you kind of just have to hope they don't draw the perfect block sometimes. Like I said, I think Chaos and Fire will have a much better time trying to push through than the Void build will. But this build, in my opinion, was actually fun nonetheless. We're playing 3 Revoke. Basically, just build easier and negate anything we want to. If at any point, like through Protecting Yukina and whatnot, this ends up in a momentum, it's just nuts because we could have no hand and we could still have the ability to go, yeah, nah, I'm not dealing with that. And just like turn off an opponent's turn. Now we're about to get onto the defensive cards of the deck. We're playing 3 Telekinetic Mastery. TK Mastery is a 2/5/3 mid block that just says check a 6 after your opponent's increases the speed of an attack or the damage of an attack, it gets -2. Basically, when we're not able to block or we don't want to block, say we have like Muscle Spirit or whatnot, anytime they buff their speed or damage, we just neg it back down and take less. Purposely for the entire intent of living longer. 3 Outworld's Heiress. It's a 2/5 with a 2 low block that just says get rid of a problem card on our opponent's turn. Do I not want to deal with this because you're going to use it to kill me? I'll get rid of it and just not deal with it. Next, same thing while we're playing 2 Loyal Friend. It's just a 2/5 no block. E flip, seal one of your opponent's foundations. Just turn that card off for a turn. I don't want to die by it. We're playing 1 Venomous. This can be used on either turn, but you don't really see a lot of responses that you really need to negate with Venomous on offense for our deck. So just being able to cancel cool things that would hurt us on defense is very cool. We have 2 Face of Monster. Same thing. We could use the form if we're ever deadlock. We could use the Desperation. We use the Desperation E all the time, and we get to respond and block. It just makes things very easy, making sure we live the longest possible. 2 Retreat Arctica. We use this for the Muscle Spirit. If an attack is not blocked, Take nothing. Don't deal with it. You know, cool stuff. We got 4 Feifei, -3 speed, block really well. Deal with it. We have 4 Uniting Rebels. This was mainly on the intent of I expected to face tank a lot with Muscle Spirit, so I wanted to be able to gain that life back. The hardest part I ran into was not drawing either these or not drawing Muscle Spirits, so we ended up just kind of in this middle zone of I guess I'm just using these to make sure I don't die and not using them to push damage, or just using these to make sure I have a cool mid block or a cool spam when I need it. It was just some things didn't go the way I wanted and some things did. You guys have to check out the videos to look at those. The last card in our deck is Voice of Reason. Voice of Reason is just a 0/5/2 mid block that says both players discard 1 card and draw 1 card. In my opinion, there is no downside to slinging any attack in Hiei, as long as you have the ability to hold your hand size or get hand size back on defense. So basically the idea is you play a bunch of these and you go, cool, I drew cards, I play a bunch of cards. Because if things hit, they go to momentum and you have a plus hand size for that. And then you can just, if you have no cards in hand, go, cool, we'll both discard draw. I don't have anything to discard, but I will draw 1 because of the resolution of the ability. And it just means you get to, again, just kind of +1 hand size. Like you use all of your abilities to their fullest. Thanks again for checking out the profile, guys. If you liked my Hiei deck, let me know down below. If you think I'm hot garbage for building a Hiei deck that doesn't use Enhance, let me know down below too. This was mainly just an idea I had because I remember playing during the Huitzel format. I remember the finals being Huitzel versus Huitzel adjacent. And I just thought, I wonder if that idea would work now and what character would be the best. So I chose Huitzel. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a write-up later. I'm probably going to write it today. It'll probably come out next month. I might release it a little bit early and just not do one next month. Or just do an extra one. Who knows? But I'll probably do one on the fire and chaos symbols, probably together. I don't think I'll do them separate. But because I think they might do a little better of the job. I was kind of just forced into the void symbol because of the way we do things to make sure we have a variety of content on our channel currently. But I think I'll do a write-up so that way you guys have an understanding of the other symbols and their possibilities. Because I think Chaos has a very good momentum flow, while Fire has a lot better of the flash control. Void just had some pieces, whereas I think Chaos is going to have the better momentum stuff to use with those pieces, and Fire is going to have the better flash support to deal with those pieces as well. So look out for that. If you want to support us, go to patreon.com/TCGUniversity. If you hit us up at the $1 level, you get access to most of our content live. You get access to most of it early. You get access to our personal Discord where you can talk to us. Tell me how shit my Hiei deck is. Tell me how much you love it. I don't care. Just talk to me. Talk to all of us. You can also hang out with the Magic guys, the White Schwartz guys, the Final Fantasy guys. Hit us up on all that cool stuff. Make sure to check out the other deck profiles in this campus championship. Make sure to check out the other matches. And as always, guys, stay learning.